Hello everyone. Um, Today I'm going to be summarizing the book Value of Values. Um, I read this book very recently and it made such an impact on me. Um, but for today's summary, I'm not going to be discussing the entire book, but rather the first 25 pages because I felt that the first 25 pages had so much insight that I really wanted to share with all of you. So, first of all, why this book, as usual, right? Um, so, the title was quite interesting for me because I always believe that um, why we do what we do, right? That entirely depends on what we value. What are our values in life? Um, that determines our actions and that determines our behaviors. Um, Values, if you trace back your actions, your feelings, eventually it all comes down to our values. And our life priorities are determined by our values. Um, Once we have awareness on these are the list of values, it brings in a lot of clarity for us to take decisions, to resolve any sort of confusions. So I believe that all of us need to take the time to understand what our values are. I have written a few posts in the past couple of years on how identifying my values helped me make many decisions about my career, about various other life choices. So, so that's the power of values. And this book says value of values. So it makes it all the more, relevant for this uh, title of the importance of this title, right? So the author Swami Dayananda Saraswati, he says that one if one embarks on this journey of understanding true self, our true nature, certain values are a prerequisite, and he has derived these values from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, specifically verses 7 to 11. So, focusing on these five verses, he has identified a list of 20 values, and he has explained each of these 20 values in detail, which probably we could take it up in another discussion. But what I really wanted to discuss today was about the values and the role they play in our life. So, Swami Dayananda Saraswati, he says it so beautifully that the expression of our life is just the expression of our well assimilated value structure. Please note this word well assimilated. So, how do we live our life? How do we express our life? It is totally based on the values that we have well assimilated into our minds, into our actions, right? And this assimilation can only happen if the values that we are living are chosen by us and they are deliberate. So, deliberate living of a chosen value is a must to complete the process of assimilation. So, if somebody tells you that this is important, somebody pressurizes you to follow a value, to live a value, then that is not going to help. So, it has to come from within, and we have to make that choice to live that value, and we have to deliberately take actions to live that value. That is the only way a value can get assimilated within our daily choices. And he says that this jnana of values, jnana in the sense the awareness or knowledge of these values, is like the preparation for the gaining of self knowledge. So it is like a preparatory step. And before even getting into those 20 values, we need to understand, why we are talking about value when we want to pursue this path of self knowledge. So, we all have heard of this Sanskrit term called dharma. Dharma means the ethical value. It's nothing to do with religion. The simplest of translation would be ethical value. If we are living according to ethical values, then we are living as per dharma. It is as simple as that. So uh, the way we can understand dharma is a code of conduct, right? It is derived from the way in which I wish others to treat me the same way. The way I treat others is nothing but I wish the others treat me the same, right? So that is how these standards or norms of conduct have been postulated. And these ethical norms, these are not just arbitrary, some man made rules that have been compiled together. Rather, it is from our own interest and from our own comfort, these code of conduct make sense. So it is like if we wish others to be kind to us, it is our responsibility, or it is our way of living to be kind to others as well. So it is mutual, right? So that is how these ethical values have been postulated for various centuries. So, and these values are relative in nature. It is not like absolute, it is context dependent. So though the content, like what this value is, it might be universally applicable, but the relative, the way it is uh, used, it is relative or situational in nature. So depending on the situation, depending on the context, the values can be modified or altered, but the content is applicable across all humankind. There are certain common practices by which we deal with values, and this is where I felt this book has such eye-opening awareness. So if you look at certain key points on how we approach values, right? First and foremost, we apply values more consistently to others, more absolutely to others than to our own self. Um, so we always want to be the beneficiary of others' ethical standards, right? We want to be the recipient of others' good behavior. But are we exhibiting the same good behavior is something to be thought through. So when I came across this particular sentence, one example that came up was, so we all place orders from many of these instant grocery delivery apps, and many times if the order is incorrect, right, the order delivered is incorrect, maybe they didn't deliver the right quantity, maybe the product was damaged, right, we immediately raise a complaint, and the we make sure that we get the refund processed, right? We raise an issue and the refund gets processed. Let's say if, for example, you have ordered something of a lesser quantity and then you get the same product of a higher quantity. You ordered something for 500 grams, but you ended up getting 1 kilogram of the same product. Do we actually raise a complaint saying that I need to pay you so much more because you have given me 1 kilogram of this, or equivalent, or if it could be compensated in the next order, right? We don't do we even take the effort to raise and say that we got more than what we paid for, right? So this is something that to think through. Whereas when we are denied, or when we feel that we have not got the value of what we have paid, do we do the same when it is the reverse situation? Something to think through. The second one is, whenever we perform an action that is a non-value, like you don't it is not part of your value, but for some reason you are being forced to perform an action that is against that value, then what happens is that it creates a seed of guilt, right? Once there is even a tiny ounce of guilt in your mind, then that is all required for you to feel a sense of conflict that can lead to sleeplessness, that can lead to fear, some sort of restlessness, right? So, for example, if you as an individual value truthfulness, right? You want to be truthful, um, as much as possible, right? Um, but your employer tells you to build a false narrative, maybe say change a few numbers, report higher numbers to clients or customers, to investors, for example, right? Then you feel a sense of guilt, right? You don't want to do that, but your employer forces you to do, right? Though truthfulness is your value, you are being asked to go against it, right? So that creates a seed of guilt. So this is one example of how we go against our value, and that disturbs our mental stability. The third one is when um, when you are unable to live up to a particular value which you are like consciously or unconsciously you have accepted, that leads to conflicts, right? So when you are in that state of conflict, that is not really a desirable state of mind, right? Where your thoughts, words and actions are not in alignment. For example, leading a healthy lifestyle might be one of your core values, but due to work pressures, due to various other responsibilities, you are not able to keep up with your health habits or health goals. You want to eat fresh home cooked food, but you're not able to do so. You want to keep up with your exercise routine, or get good sleep, prioritize 7 to 8 hours of deep sleep, but you're not able to follow these habits because there are various other things which are beyond your control that prevent you from following it, or it causes you too much pressure to follow these goals that you have set for yourself. So there is a sense of conflict, right? So we face such conflicts day in and day out, but because we are not aware, um, we are not able to address the root cause. The root cause is the misalignment in values. What values we want to live by, but we are not able to at the end of the day due to various reasons, right? So these conflicts over a period of time, it builds a undesirable state where you don't feel comfortable in your mind, you don't feel aligned in your mind. The other aspect is when there is a certain value, you expect others to be 100% complying to that value. Whereas when it comes to your own self, you are not really 100% compliant. Maybe in certain scenarios, you may not follow that value, right? So, this is what the author calls it as having a split value, um, where you're not able to do exactly what you expect others to do for you. So, this disconnection is leading to a split value. And some of the examples I was, looking at where we always tell our children, you should not spend too much time on gadgets. You're spending too much time on your phones or TV. But are we following the same rule is the question, right? We will be like totally glued to our gadgets, but we expect our children not to do the same. So this conflict is like so apparent in almost many urban households today. The other example could be that maybe you are um, an app developer and you want to build a wellness app. You want to improve the well-being of the people around. You want more people to use your well-being app and get better in terms of their health, but you might be addicted to say smoking or drinking alcohol, right? So these are like this is again a conflict, isn't it? So this is the meaning of half value, where uh, we are not committing completely to whatever we say, and this half value leads to guilt over a period of time. And whenever there is a guilt, there is a sense of conflict, and this half value, it creates what the author calls as the knower-doer split. So you know that this is how you want to live by a certain value, but your actions don't actually comply fully to that value. So this is how this knower-doer split gets created. And this results to lack of integration within ourselves, where there is lack of alignment between our thoughts, words, and actions. And whenever there is guilt, we are not able to express ourselves completely. There is certain parts of ours which we don't feel like looking deeper, right? So this is how values um, impact our day-to-day decisions. It impacts our state of mind. It impacts the choices we make over a period of time. So I felt that this particular summary, like about 20-25 pages in this book, it opened up a lot of awareness and clarity on why we even need to consider uh, understanding our values, take up that effort to understand our values in the first place. um, So what I will do is that I will summarize the 20 values that are listed maybe in a subsequent video. Thank you so much.